this is my system of cookie cutters organized in one sleeve that they all fit into perfectly due to being on the same base. There's a little slot at the bottom to allow them to be pulled out from the bottom, and they're labeled. And the cookie cutters do work to make cookies. I didn't use the reindeer one because I didn't like the size of it. I might redesign that one later. But the rest of them I used to make all of these cookies. The Christmas ornament even has a little hole in it so you could hang it on the tree. The tree has an accidental feature where you can choose to leave the star on or take the star off, which is pretty nice. The snowman is very simple. There's nothing to be said about it except the fact that the cookie dough I used was pretty soft, so when I picked it up and put it on the baking sheet, it bent. And my favorite one is the Santa Claus. Holy moly, look at that. I like that. I really like the Santa Claus one. It's a nice design. You've got the beard and the face and the white of the hat and then the red of the hat and then the ball on the hat. It's based off of the Tim Allen Santa Claus from the Santa Claus, and it ends up being really cartoony looking, which is pretty neat because it doesn't look cartoony in the movie. But I guess that's probably why it looks so good in the movie, is they designed it to be as cartoony as they could get away with. So yeah, really like the Santa Claus one. It's my favorite cookie cutter. And because of this standardized base design, I can make more cookie cutters as needed. This thing is tall enough that I can have about 10 or 11 cookie cutters in there. I'm going to not use the reindeer one ever, probably. I might redesign it. This one was based off of Rudolph from the claymation movie, right? That old 60s Rudolph. His antlers are really tall, and so that meant that getting it to fit inside the constraints of the base was really made everything else really small, because the antlers and the legs take up about 2/3 of the height, and that is not much for the rest of the body. So if I redesign it, I will use a couple of tricks that I thought of. Like, for example, it doesn't have to fit entirely in this square, it just has to fit inside of these two lines, so it can go out as far as here, the actual cookie cutter shape, and as far as here on the bottom. So I can increase that, and then another thing I can do for this one is rotate the antlers to, instead of being tall, they're more sideways, because a lot of reindeer cookie cutters do that. But that's just this one. In terms of improvements I could make on this system, not many. If I was to redesign it, I would make this base, this universal square base, a little bit thinner in order to make it easier to, or well, just to save plastic. But also to make it easier to hold, because this wasn't an issue because you can hold them through it, right? But to hold them on the outside like this takes a little bit of effort. But so far you can hold all of these through the rest of the holes there, which is part of why the holes are there. It's also to save on plastic. I might also have made it round. I might also have preferred if it was round, a round base instead of a square, but it was easier for me to work with a square than it being round, so that's why it's square. But other than that, it works pretty phenomenally, pretty well. I mean, pretty good cookies other than the snowman being soft. Santa Claus is amazing. It's a good looking Santa Claus. It looks generic too. It's based off of a Disney IP, but it looks generic. Christmas ornament with the little decoration on the inside. Or you could make icing and fill these, or decorate it all and fill this and like pretend that those aren't there with icing. Christmas tree with the no star, or Christmas tree with a star. Both off of the same cookie cutter. That's pretty neat. Little mini star to put on this Christmas tree. Right, it's a pretty good... I like this. I'm glad I made this. It's pretty good. Why does the freaking... Why does the darkness... Why does it keep getting darker on this screen? Whatever. But yeah, I used all of them except the reindeer. I don't want to use the reindeer one, to be honest, because it's not that good. So... But the rest of them are pretty good cookie cutters. And this wasn't... The reindeer wasn't a failure of the system here. It was a failure of me not being good at making cookie cutter designs. Or at least not being good at making a cookie cutter design out of a reindeer. Because I chose a reindeer that's hard to do it with, and then I kind of didn't think of any of the tricks that I just thought of until after the reindeer failed. So that's a funny look. You can kind of make out the different cutters. Where's the snowman? You can't make that one out, but you can kind of see the rest of them. Where is the snowman? Oh, he's just above the Santa Claus. So there's Santa, and then right on top of it is... Oh, there! There's the hat on the top left corner. Hat, neat. So yeah, this is my stack of cookie cutters in a sleeve to keep them organized. Pretty nifty, if I say so myself.